Good evening and thanks for joining us. If you're one of thousands of Canadians struggling to save enough to buy a home, there's some revealing information about your prospects tonight. Low-income families are getting squeezed out of the market, and single Canadians who used to be more likely to rent are increasingly choosing to buy. There's a lot to digest in these statistics, but as Shirley Engel reports, it all points to a big change in who's buying and what kind of homes they're choosing.
Michelle DeBear and husband Donald Sin have spent 7.5 years in their downtown starter home. Little Henry is a new addition. Their stacked condo an investment to help them save for the family home they're finally able to afford.
I mean, we waited longer as well to start our family, just to try to build up a little bit of equity in the housing market before, just so we would be prepared when we have our little guy, just so we wouldn't have to maybe struggle as much.
The sacrifice, a longer commute, but they're part of a growing trend among young middle-class Canadian couples.
As single-family homes become a little bit out of reach for first-time buyers, we're seeing a lot of first-time buyers moving into smaller condos, temporary sort of 3 to 5 year plan.
Home ownership in Canada increased by 7% from 1981 to 2006, according to Statistics Canada. But a study it released today found an interesting shift in who's buying. Among high-income young couples with kids, ownership increased from 88 to 94%. But for low-income families, that dream home is now more out of reach than ever. Just 35% can afford to buy now, compared with 47% back in the 80s.
It matters almost not so much what your income level is in terms of determining your likelihood to own your own home, as it matters whether or not you're single or married with children.
So what about those singletons? The study found more and more are buying up real estate.
The supply of housing has changed, especially in the major cities. Younger people, singles, could buy a very small piece of the housing market.
Still, even for some childless couples, reality is times are tough even with rock-bottom rates.
We're not wasteful spenders.
In Winnipeg, Chris Keenis and Elisa Holer are waiting to start a family until they have a home.
In 2 years, we could have that down payment.
Well, we'd also like housing prices to drop just a tiny bit.
They want to avoid adding to the growing number of Canadians living beyond their means just to live the dream of home ownership. Shirley Engel, Global News, Ottawa.